Hi everyone. So today we're going to be talking about the idea of solving systems of equations in the real world. Go ahead and follow along with your notes and make sure that you're trying to pay attention to the types of situations that we're encountering here. So when creating equations from a real world linear situation, it can be helpful to identify keywords like per and every. You might want to include in that maybe something like each. These words relate to the slope of a linear function. Okay? Any other amounts that occur only once relate to the y-intercept. So basically what I'm saying, I've got a few examples here that don't show up on your notes. So if you have something that's talking about miles per hour, then whatever that number is going to be related to the slope. But if they're talking about miles already traveled, that's going to be the y-intercept. If I'm talking about like a charge, someone charges me a certain amount per hour, that's going to be related to the slope, versus they might just charge me an initial cost, that would be related to the y-intercept. And as a final example, let's say we're talking about something like I earn dollars per hour. I earn $30 per hour. Then that number 30 is going to relate to the slope. Versus, let's say I have $200 saved. That amount is going to be my y-intercept. Okay, so let's move forward here and actually see what this looks like in an example. So today I'm not really teaching you a method. We've talked about graphing, we've talked about solving equations, so today we're actually going to be talking about how do we dissect a word problem to be able to solve it. So the first example I'm going to show you how we can graph it, and then the second example I'm going to show you how we can use substitution or another method. So here's the first example. It says, Hannah went to play miniature golf on Monday when it cost $1 to rent the club and ball, plus $2 per game. So already I see $2 per game, so I know that that is going to be the slope of Hannah's equation. And I see $1 to rent the club and ball, so I know that that is going to be the y-intercept of Hannah's equation. Now Dustin went Thursday paying $1 per game, so I see the word per. I know that this is going to be a rate, so I know that's going to be his slope. Okay, and plus rental fees of $5. So that was additional money, so that's going to be my y-intercept. By coincidence, they played the same number of games for the same total cost. How much did each one spend? Now it says to write a system of equations, graph them, and type the solution. This is from IXL, but it's just an example. So I'm going to write Hannah's, and I'm going to write Dustin's. Right? So if I look at Hannah's information, I figured out the slope is going to be 2, and the y-intercept is going to be $1. Okay. I'm getting this information from right here, slope $2 per game, and my fixed cost $1 to rent the club and ball. So 2 and 1, so if I write my equation, I know it's y equals mx plus b, so I'm just going to replace the m with 2, because that's the slope, x plus 1. So I have one of the equations is going to be y equals 2x plus 1. Now Dustin's equation, if I look at his slope, I look at his rate, it was $1 per game. So his slope is going to be 1, and then his extra fees, his fixed cost, is his y-intercept is going to be $5. So now if I write my equation, it's going to be y equals 1x plus 5. Great, so now I have two equations, so now I can just graph them. So I'm going to color code these a little bit just so we can keep track. So Hannah is going to be red, and Dustin is going to be in green. So if If I look at Hannah's, I'm going to graph y equals 2x plus 1. So that means that I'm going to start at 1 on the y-axis, and then the slope is 2 over 1, so I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1. And I can draw a line through that. Now if I look at Dustin's slope, his equation was y equals 1x plus 5. So I'm going to start at positive 5, and my slope is 1, so that's 1 over 1. So up 1 to the right 1, 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 up 1 to the right 1. So I should see that these two lines intersect right at this blue point right here. Now that blue point is at 4, comma, that's 8, 9, 4, comma 9. Okay, so I look at my x-axis, that tells me that this means 4 games, and cost, that means $9. So, write about the meaning of the solution and answer the question above. How much did each one spend? So, I'm going to just start writing an answer to this question. Dustin and Hannah both spent $9. They both had played 5 games. Oh, sorry. 4 games. They both had played 4 games. The x value of the solution is the number of games. And the y value of the solution is the cost. So that way we really know that we understood the meaning of the question, we understood how we got to that solution, and we understand the meaning of the solution. Okay, let's move on to the next example. Example 2. So again, I'm going to read it to be able to build equations, and then I'm actually going to solve this one not with graphing, but probably with substitution. Okay, here we go. So a company that teaches self-improvement seminars is holding one of its seminars in Hampton. The company pays a flat fee of $400. Okay, so this looks like it's going to be the y-intercept. Anything that says flat or fixed is generally the y-intercept, to rent a facility in which to hold each session. Additionally, for every attendee who registers, the company must spend $20 to purchase books and supplies. So it looks like $20 is going to be my slope for at least one equation. Each attendee will pay $36 for the seminar. Okay, so I see the word each. I know that that is going to be my, oh, that's actually going to be my slope. So let's do that in green. So that's going to be for a different equation. So now once a certain number of attendees register, the company will be breaking even. So that means this right here means that they're making as much as they spent. What will be the company's total expenses and revenues? So expenses are how much they spend, and revenues are how much they make. So it looks like for this equation, I'm going to need one equation that's related to how much they spend, then one equation that's going to be related to how much they make. So I'm going to write my equation. So I'm going to write an expenses equation in red. So I got to go back and read what are the things that they are spending. Okay, so the company pays a flat fee of $400. Okay, so that's going to be my y-intercept of that equation. And they have to, for every attendee who registers, the company must spend $20 to purchase books and supplies. So that's 20x. So this is telling me that the x is going to be attendees, like the number of people who show up, and y is going to be money. Okay? So now let's look at our revenues. The revenues, it looks like we will make $36 for each person who shows up, and that's all that we make. So this one actually does not have a y-intercept, or you could say it's plus 0. I'm just going to erase this just so it doesn't complicate things. So I actually have two equations now, and this is a situation where I can use the equal values method. So what I'm going to do is just set these equal to one another. So I'm going to write 20x plus 400 equals 36x. And I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 20x, subtract 20x. So this makes a 0 pair. So now I've got 400 equals 14x. Sorry about that. It's going to be 400 equals 14x. So now I'm going to take, and I'm going to divide 14. I'm going to do that off to the side here. So 400 divided by 14. I know that this is going to go in two times, I believe, 28. And then I'm going to bring down the 0 to divide into 120, and then 14 times 8, let's see what that gives us. It's going to be 32, 8 times 112. Looks like I might have made a mistake here. So, I'm going to go back and check some of my work. So I know my equation is y equals 20x plus 400, y equals 36x. So I'm going to say 20x plus 400 equals 36x. I'm going to subtract 20. So I know 400 is equal to, I think I did some subtraction wrong here. 36 minus 20 actually makes 16. And that's a good lesson in just being able to check your work. So this actually right here should say 400 is equal to 16x. I'm going to divide 16. So 400 divided by 16, this will go in twice, that's 32, so I have 8 left over, and 16 times 5, that makes 30, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So now I figured out that x is equal to 25, okay? So that means now all I have to do is just take this 25 and substitute it back into either equation. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute it in for this equation right here. So I'm going to take y equals 20 multiplied by 25 plus 400. So 20 multiplied by 25, or 25 multiplied by 20 is going to be 500. 400, which means y is equal to 900. So now I look back to my key. X is my attendees, so that means there will be 25 attendees, and Y is my money, meaning that I made and also spent $900. That's my break-even point. So, what's my question? What is the company's expenses and revenues? Will be $900 when 25 people attend the seminars. The X value represents attendees, and the Y value represents money. Okay, so this is a good way to think about how everything that we've been learning actually leads up to real-world situations. That's the video for today. Let me know if you have any questions.